Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, it's Paul. So today we're going to talk about, or tonight we're going to talk about what my plans are for the fall and into the winter months. This weekend's hike has kind of gotten me excited to get back out on the trails. Didn't do a lot of hiking this summer. I don't know, it's just lazy. The idea of driving up north and putting a bunch of miles on the car really didn't appeal to me. Um, when I got this car, it wasn't a plan, so I had to um, lease the car. And we all know what fun leases are, give you low mileage, and I can't stand low mileage, considering one-way trip to work is 35 miles, so 70 miles a day and just back and forth to work puts a ton of miles on, and then traveling just 60 miles just to get to the southern end of the mountains really puts the miles on. But hey, COVID came along and I haven't had to drive 35 miles to work in 6 months, so it kind of freed up some time. But still wasn't in the mood to do a lot of traveling, so haven't really done much. Like I said, I did Mount Willard earlier in June, did Pemigewasset, otherwise known as Indian Head. You saw that one, it did that one just the other day. That was fun. It's been a while since I've hiked in the snow. So kind of looking for some hikes to do this fall. Now that hopefully with all the leaf peepers gone, it should be easier to get to the trailheads and not have to leave as early. But I love getting to the trailheads early. It gives me plenty of time to take a leisurely hike. I don't have to feel like I have to run up, which I always do. I have to remind myself it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like when I did Washington and on the 4th, I just about ran up the first 3 miles of the hike, which really are the easiest 3 miles. Once you get above tree line, at least because the trail I did is I do Jewel Trail because I absolutely hate Ammonoosuc Ravine Trail. Once you get past Gem Pool, it's straight uphill and then a bunch of rock scrambles. I don't mind rock scrambles, but the ones on Ammonoosuc Ravine Trail, there are some spots where it's sketchy because you got to be really tall to reach some spots, and I'm anything but tall. So I usually don't. I try not to do Ammonoosuc Ravine Trail because it's just doesn't do it for me. So what I'm thinking about doing this weekend doesn't look good for northern part of the state. So I'm thinking of doing some hikes in southern New Hampshire, up along the Lakes region. So Gunstock area, Mount Major. Did Mount Major a couple years ago for a quick up and down. It's a really easy hike if you take if you do the blue trail or the blue, yeah, I think they call it the blue trail. Not much views going up, but the views at the top are I mean, for the amount of effort you put into it, it's not that bad. You get to overlook. I think it's Lake Winnipesaukee that you're looking over, so that's nice. But when I'm looking for views, I'm looking for mountains that go on and on and on and on and on. Like you get at the top if you're on Franconia Ridge or some of the outer mountains. Good one if you want to see that, Mount Garfield. It's 5 mile hike. It's not that tough of a hike. What I will tell you, if you go up the Mount Garfield Trail, be careful coming down. It looks I have yet to figure out how this happens because I can only see one trail coming off the mountain. But there is a way that you come off that thing and you don't end up on, I don't know what trail I ended up on, but I did it last year. I did a training hike for the flags on the 48. Got up easy enough. I followed these girls up with their dogs and decided I was going to head down. Headed down. I was following this couple that were Appalachian Trail through hikers, and they kind of passed me, told them where I was going. They said they were going to Lincoln. I'm like, oh, sweet. So I was following them. Didn't dawn on me that they're headed to Lincoln this way. I need to go to Bethlehem this way. I'm heading the opposite direction. And it made no sense to me now that I think about it, because on the way up, when you get to the spur path up to the summit, I left my trekking poles down there because it's really steep and trekking poles really aren't all that good for going up this part. So I left them down at the base, figuring I'd pick them up on the way down. And they knew that. So I passed them, they passed me, and then they went on their way. And about a mile and a half, I ran into them again. And they're like, what's up? You still looking for your poles? I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, it's a mile and a half back that way. So hightailed it back. Don't know what the heck happened here, but all of a sudden I'm on the summit of Mount Garfield again. Worst part? At that point I ran out of water. Not good. So there was a nice couple at the top. They had some spare water, some purification tablets. There was a puddle on the top of the summit. I filled up my canteen, threw in a couple purification tablets. Nice lady had some extra water. I filled up the other canteen that I had. I sucked down that one on the way down. I'm not going to touch that puddle water till it's absolutely necessary. So I babied that water. Got down low enough to there was a stream crossing and it was running water. I don't worry about running water. It's very difficult to, at least in my opinion, there are probably hikers that'll see this and get mad at me, but I think running water is really hard to contaminate. So I really didn't mind just filling that up out of the stream and drinking that. At this point, I hadn't gotten any filtration. I have now went out and bought myself a Sawyer filter, figured out how to use that. So hopefully won't have to worry about that happening again. The issue is you've got to make sure that where there's water on the trail. When I did Mount Liberty this summer or this fall in September, supposedly there's no supposedly. There's a spring at the Liberty Springs tent site. So I figured I'd fill up there. I forgot New Hampshire's in a drought. So I got up there and it was just drip, 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 drip. So not enough water to fill up on. So I'm glad I didn't skimp on the water because that would not have been fun. That was a fun trip. As I was headed to the summit, I think it was the Vermont National Guard because I don't think New Hampshire National Guard. None of the units in New Hampshire have fighters or jets. Air National Guard down at Pease, they're just refueling. And the Air National Guard up in Concord, where I am, they fly Blackhawks. So I don't know. I think the only thing that flies jets around here are Vermont National Guard, Air National Guard. So they were up doing some training runs. Was it last? Oh, yeah. Then when I was up a couple weeks ago, when I was up in Franconia Notch, when I did the posts for the hike around Echo Lake. Yeah, Echo Lake. One of the guys from work was up in the areas, up in Twin Mountain. He was coming through the notch, and someone was doing a train and run because they must have been some refueling planes coming through the notch because there were three of them, and it was foggy that day, and I was amazed that they got those big birds through there. I'd love to have seen that. But yeah, I'm thinking doing some short hikes. Got to keep the hiking legs going because this summer I want to get back into the longer hikes. Definitely want to get back out onto the bonds. I think what I'd like to do, haven't figured out how I'm going to do this yet because I'm thinking I want to get out to Gio campsite, spend the night there. So go up Zealand, up to Twin Way to pick up Bond Cliff Trail, go up over Gio, Bond. I might go hit West Bond again. When I get to the intersection of the Gio Spur Trail, go dump my stuff at the campsite, head up to Mount Bond, trek over to Bond Cliff, grab some pics there, and then spend the night. It's kind of what I'd like to do. That's going to be a long hike, like 9 miles just out. Bond Cliff. Supposedly, I haven't really done the research on this, but supposedly Bond Cliff and Mount Bond are the farthest summits to a road in New Hampshire. Which now that I'm thinking about it, definitely makes sense. So I'm going to do that. Of course, got to do Mount Washington. But I think I'd really like to do, don't know if I have the legs for it. I'd like to hike up from Valley Way up to Gulfside by the Madison Spring Trail, Madison Spring Hut. Hike from Madison Springs Hut out to Mount Washington via Gulfside because that's a gorgeous views. And then back. But I think that's a long one. I think from Madison Springs Hut to Mount Washington is like 6 miles. Let's see. I think most of it's flat-ish. But yeah, that's something that I'd really like to do. Definitely, if it's the trail that people do when they do the presidential traverse. If I do a presidential traverse, it's going to be the lazy way. I'm not going to hit the summits. Yeah, that's a long day on the trail, and I just don't have the legs for it, and I just don't have the attention span for it. So that's something that I really would like to do. Gulfside. What I'd really like to do is a night hike. I'd like to get out onto Franconia Ridge at night. Nice clear night, no moon. Grab my camera gear and hike up. Get some nice shots. Night sky shots. Get some Milky Way shots. That'd be sweet. Yeah, that's something I really want to do. So that's a plan for the summer. That's kind of scary though. Oof. That means I'd have to go up like Falling Waters. I don't know if anybody watches Northwood's Law, but this past week they did a rescue off of Falling Waters Trail. I watch those rescues and I'm like, holy cow. I go on some of these hikes and I'm like, man, I wouldn't want to be a CO trying to cart somebody off one of these hikes, off one of these trails, because they're super sketchy. The one that really comes to mind, the Kinsman Ridge Trail from top of Cannon down to Lonesome Lake Trail. That thing's got some steep spots. Um, when I last time I did Cannon, I went up High Cannon Trail, and when I got to the Rim Trail, I saw the sign for Kinsman Ridge Trail down to the Lonesome Lake Trail, and I was like, "Ooh, it's only a mile. I'm going down there, man." I really wasn't. I don't know. Wasn't in the mood to go down um, High Canyon Trail because it's a steep trail. I know I just said I can deal with steep, but yeah, I just wasn't in the mood for it. Um, so I got to the summit, got the food, went out onto the deck, pulled out the guidebook. Yes, I bring my heavy guidebook instead of just taking photographs or whatever, but I took the guidebook and read about Kinsman Ridge Trail down to Lonesome Lake. And they said, well, it's steep. Great, I can do steep. Steep's not a problem. What they didn't tell you is that not only is it steep, but you're climbing over freaking boulders, and there's one spot you put your foot down wrong and you're just headed down the mountain. Yeah, I called it the OS trail. We all know what the S stands for because it's pretty much what I said all the way down that trail. Oh, all the way down. So Cannon's fun though. The thing I like about Cannon and Mount Washington, they got food at the top. They got real restrooms at the top. And if you got food and you got real restrooms, I'm headed up. Mount Washington, though, tougher trail to get up. I don't know if it's longer, but the weather's a whole lot different. You get above tree line in Mount Washington. You don't get above tree line on Cannon. So, that would be neat to do in the winter too. Pack my skis up. That's not happening. Might try that one. Haven't done a hike in Lonesome Lake in the dead of winter. I've done that in spring. That's you got to be careful with that. You got to bring your spikes there. Late even into Memorial Day. I've been up there on a Memorial Day weekend, and you still had a pretty good monorail. So those of you who don't hike, a monorail is basically the small stretch of hardpack snow that stays throughout the spring and pretty much into early summer. It's where everybody's walked before, so it's packed down and doesn't melt. If you're on either side of the monorail, you're in mud or ice. So anytime I'm going up there, late April all the way into June, I'm bringing my spikes, my micro spikes. It's amazing how many people are unprepared for these things. I'll be hiking down in my spikes, just no problem walking on the ice, and you got people coming up with just hiking boots or worse, sneakers, and it's so icy they're hugging trees. Last time I did it, felt really bad for this one group. Mother had brought her kids up, kids wearing snow boots, no socks, and she's busted, and the little girl's busting through the snow post holing. So it really wasn't fun for the kids. So if you're gonna do that, if you're bringing your kids, make sure that they're prepared for it. Because most of the kids that I see on the trail are loving it. I mean, most of the time, I wish I had their energy. So, yeah, just prepare. Just make sure your kids are prepared for it, as well as you. yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Get out, do some short hikes. So tell me what you want to hear. Tell me, you know, what hikes interest you. Comment. You know, feel free to like the video if it's something that you liked. If you wanted to see more, tell me. If you wanted to see less, tell me. Again, like I keep saying, this is your channel, not just mine. I could do this for narcissistic reasons, but it's not that way. I just know that people like the outdoors, but they can't always get out there. So subscribe to the channel, and I will try to post as regularly as I can. If I can't get out and hike, which can be a little tough, I'll try and do these types of chats from time to time. Tell me what you'd like to hear on these chats. I just kind of throw them together, figure out what we want to talk, what I want to talk about. But again, I could end up talking and revamping things that I talked about previously. So tell me what you're looking for. Tell me what you'd like to hear, what you'd like to learn. I can't say I'm an expert at hiking because I definitely am not. Um, I can say I'm an experienced hiker. Um, definitely not an expert hiker because there are definitely some trails that I do not feel anywhere near comfortable doing. So, yeah, that's it. All right. Well, I'm going to go. It's getting late and I've got some other things to do. Again, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, and let's keep wandering. Talk to you later. Bye.